Okay, so today we're going to go over how I paint my rifles and how I give them that pattern that a lot of people use in their clone rifles. So main component is going to be a laundry mesh bag. You can just get these cheap at Walmart or Dollar General. I actually bought this one at Dollar General. Just use a cheap laundry mesh bag and some masking tape to cover expensive things that you don't want painted, i.e. my light. And another thing is I use Krylon. Some people use Airvo paint, but I just bought this at Walmart. It's pretty cheap. The colors that I have are going to be sand and black. I use black because I kind of like a darker color on my pattern, but you can use, tan, brown, khaki, dirt, whatever color you want, but that's pretty much it. Another thing that's kind of handy is to have just a non-serrated knife to kind of cut around the pattern, which I'll show you here in a second. But that's pretty much all you need to paint. Now let's get started. I'm just going to give you all a quick rundown of how I go about covering things up that I don't want painted. So we're going to start with this Insight logo on my WMX200, and then we're also going to cover the manufacturer's information on the WMX200, and then as well as the main bezel. So basically you're going to want to start by just getting your regular masking tape. You're going to take your knife and just go around. So just follow the little line with your knife. Okay, now I pretty much got all the markings on the WMX covered up. Now we can work on the actual bezel of the light. Okay, now that the light's pretty much covered up, the only thing we're going to cover up now is going to be the muzzle brake or the flash hider, the trigger, and then we'll also cover up the end of this Insight pressure cord. Now on this it doesn't have to be really pretty, but we're basically just going to take some tape and wrap it around the 4-prong. Right here, we'll start as close to the muzzle as we can get, and we're just going to wrap the tape around it. Okay, that's pretty much it. We'll just put one more piece of tape over it. And now your brake is covered up. For the trigger, you're just going to take a piece of tape and just wrap it around it. It doesn't have to be pretty, but basically you're just keeping it to where no paint cakes up on it to give you an uneven surface or something. I don't know, it kind of bothers me, but it's whatever. It doesn't have to be pretty. Just wrap it in tape. So now that we're done with all the prep work, I just want to go ahead and make sure to you guys who are safety wise, weapon is clear, weapon is empty, no magazines. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and close the dust cover, and then we are going to start with our sand, our base coat. Take it up really good. go ahead and move the safety selector down so you can paint the backside of it. You just want to make sure to get in all the crevices, you know, inside or on the front and back side of all the shell deflector and the forward assist. And also, you want to get behind the end plate right here. And I like to do this with my stock extended, so we'll just go ahead and put it extended. Go ahead and paint the buffer tube. Just make sure to, I go ahead and make sure to cover up any surface with tan. So we're just going to get a good base coat. And yes, I am painting the Riz 2, and yes, it already is FDE, but I'm going to go ahead and paint it because, you know, we're savages here. So we're going to go to the other side and do the same thing. Start with the safety selector down. Just get a good base coat. To remember is when you're painting clone rifles or painting, you know, military rifles, you don't want it to be on your mind as far as like how pretty it is. You know, you just want to cover the thing, make it camouflaged as much as you can. You know, at one point I was kind of worried about how it would look, but I'm pretty much over it. You know, it's functional and it makes it look cooler if it's worn. But so we're just going to make sure every surface of the rifle is painted. Okay, and we're just going to go ahead and let this dry for a few minutes, and then we'll be back. So it's been about 5 or 10 minutes. You know, you just want to make sure the paint is not tacky. The Krylon series dries pretty fast, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start with the laundry bag technique. And so you're going to take your laundry bag, and you're basically just going to put your rifle inside the laundry bag. And kind of make sure it's not overlapping on itself, and you have make sure you don't have any seams laying on your rifle. You gotta make sure it's just the mesh and nothing else. So now we have the mesh over the rifle, and now we're going to use our black, or you can use just a darker shade, and we're gonna go over and just make some lines and kind of break up the pattern on the paint. And then a technique that I use sometimes is to take the can of paint and go back maybe a foot or a foot and a half, and then just kind of dust over the paint. And then you're going to do the same thing with the other side. And then so you can go ahead and take it out of the bag, kind of look at it and see if it needs any other touch-ups. It needs some right there. You can go ahead and touch up wherever you are kind of lacking paint. The last thing I'm going to do is just kind of like dust it with some black. And then hit it with a little bit more tan from a distance. Just going to put a few more stripes on with black. Alright, then we have our painted CQBR, so you can go ahead and take off your paint or your masking tape. So the last thing I like to do before I finish a paint job is to just kind of go over everything that moves and kind of give it a good run through the operation, like the safety selector, and just kind of put your hands where they're going to be when you're firing the weapon. Kind of just take off that tackiness of the paint, kind of run it through, like on the grip, on the foregrip, on the pressure pad. Just kind of like, you know, take off the tackiness of it. That will make sure that it's not like sticking when you're using it. It also gives that good like worn finish. So the last thing I'm going to do after I paint it is I'm going to actually tell you all about a product that I really like. Carolina Laser Works actually makes their own UID tags, and they're really neat because you can use your own serial number like I did, and you can use your own cage and part number. It's really cool, and they're actually metal backed, so it's a really cool product, and I'm going to go ahead and put that on my rifle. Okay, and now your paint job is complete. Thanks for watching, and I'll post a video next Friday. Thanks.